Jim Brinson, Paul J. Schneider, AM 67 KBOI. There's no substitute.
Matt Biondi, Eyewitness News.
Welcome those of you who watched Dallas and Philadelphia, where the final score 17-3. The Eagles won it. I'm Vern Lundquist along with John Madden. Here in San Francisco, we're just underway. New Orleans took the opening kickoff, and they have gotten their first down, and Joe Montana will not play today unless absolutely necessary. The interesting thing is, Joe is not on the inactive list. He's just not suited up. So if something happened to Steve Young, Montana would head into the locker room and suit up. He could play. Walsh to throw. Haley stunted, and the pass behind Fennerty incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10.
You know, one thing, you see Michael Carter like that, it's not always sacking the quarterback. Sometimes it's just getting a push on the quarterback. Watch him middle of the line and Carter and what he does. Here comes Holt on the inside, and watch him just collapse that pocket right back into Walsh. He just throws the guy right at the quarterback's feet. Now the quarterback can't step up, and he can't follow through.
He's listed at 285. Do you believe that?
Yeah, he's closer to 385 than 285. I mean, he fills out a uniform. He fills out that 9 and that 5.
Brett Perriman in motion on 2nd and 10. Toss right, Joe Fennerty. And he's jammed up. Waymer up on top with the tackle. The erstwhile New Orleans Saints. And Matt Millen down low.
There's a fired up guy, Dave Waymer. You know, of course, he played for 10 years for the Saints, and they didn't protect him on Plan B, so the 49ers picked him up. Earlier today, Dave Waymer came in, and he went in and visited the Saints in their locker room. But, you know, you can be nice to guys before the game. Say, hey, good to see you, old buddy. How you doing? And then you want to knock his helmet off once the game starts.
And you saw that Waymer has contributed greatly to the 49ers. 5 interceptions this year.
Been one of the best pickups they've had.
3rd and 10, 4 wide receiver set, 3 at the top of your screen. Haley coming in, Walsh. Walsh, is the catch good? No, out of bounds. Eric Martin could only get 1 foot down legally.
Here we get to move here. Here's Eric Martin on the outside. He does a good job on tight coverage. He just spins his guy to the left, to the right, and just spins him right to the ground. And, of course, Steve Walsh had pressure from Haley, so he couldn't get that ball to Eric Martin. But Eric Martin made about 3 great moves there.
Tommy Barnhart will punt. He's in a battle with Sean Landeta of the Giants for the leadership in the NFL in punting. He's only 0.2 of a yard in average behind Landeta. And Sean Taylor back to return a bit of a low snap. Taylor at the 30. And only out to the 33. Now Steve Young starting at quarterback. First start of the year. Montana has maintained his health throughout this 13-1 record. Steve Young has thrown 1 pass for 1 yard this year. No yards, as a matter of fact. Paris, McIntyre, Sepulu, Barton, Wallace, and Jones up front. And in the backfield, it's Carter, Rathman, Rice, and Taylor at the wide receiver spots. In his career, 32 touchdowns, 27 interceptions. Back split, Young across the middle, caught. Brent Jones, not silly in the game Monday night, makes the catch for a 5-yard gain. And it looks like the 49ers are going to go with the no-huddle offense. They will indeed. 2nd down and 5. By the way, that pass broke a tie that Steve Young had with Barry Hilton, the punter. He's now thrown 1 more pass than Hilton. And he's 2 for 2. Jerry Rice has the catch and then the bobble, and they'll say incomplete pass.
I talked to Mike Holmgren, the quarterback coach, before the game, and he said that they planned to start Joe Montana today, and he said even with Steve Young starting, they're going to go with the same game plan. You can see there that Jerry Rice never had control of the ball. You know, you have to come down with both feet on the ground. That is how you determine control.
And I believe Gene Barth just informed us they're looking at this in replay.
Well, you see, it's not whether it has control up there. You have to wait till both feet come down. The feet aren't down yet. See, now both feet are down. Now the ball's out. So he didn't have control.
Pass, third down.
Now, they were right. That was an incomplete pass. That was one of the things the Saints said that they have to do. They said, you know, it's not that Taylor and Rice, you know, catch passes for a long way, but they catch little passes and make big runs out of them. They said we have to tackle today.
Dexter Carter out of the backfield, Young back. And this is what he can do as well as most in the league, most who occupy the quarterback spot. Toy Cook makes the tackle.
Yeah, one thing, the Saints really weren't ready for Steve Young. I mean, you have to play Steve Young totally different from Joe Montana. I think they expected Steve Young to play some in the second half because that had been written in the newspapers all week, but they expected Joe Montana to play this first half.
Now they'll call the chains out for the measurement, see if Young got the first down. Defensively for New Orleans, and this is where they're really hurting. Simmons, a rookie. Turnbull, a rookie. Pickoff, acquired in a trade. They've got injuries there. They're not hurting here. Jackson, Mills, Johnson, and Swilling, an outstanding group of linebackers. And on 1st and 10, here's Massey, Cook, Atkins, and Maxey in the Saint backfield. 1st and 10, Young back. 5-step drop. And a nice pass. Boy, in between two defenders at the 48-yard line. Jerry Rice with the catch. Welcome those of you who watched the Rams at Atlanta, where Atlanta ended the losing streak, winning 20-13. Vern Lundquist along with John Madden. We are scoreless with 10:40 to go first quarter. Steve Young on 2nd down and 5 goes deep right side. Jerry Rice adjusts and the ball is incomplete. And we welcome those of you from the Chicago-Tampa Bay game, where Chicago won at 27-14. That eliminates Tampa Bay from the wild card chase. We are scoreless in the first quarter. Jerry Rice and Toy Cook battling for that long pass down the near sideline.
The 49ers are going here again, Vern, without a huddle. That had to be their game plan, I think, to start this first series in a no-huddle offense, hurry-up offense.
Young back. On the line, Dexter Carter, first down at the 42-yard line. As Vaughn Johnson and Robert Massey collaborate on the tackle, a gain of 11.
Steve Young looks pretty cool in there. That may be one thing that he's learned from this guy right there, Joe Montana, who is the coolest quarterback I've ever seen in my life.
And just to reiterate, John, for those who are joining us, Montana not sitting up today, but he is not on the inactive list. Oh, another great pass. And Steve Young has moved the 49ers down to the 32-yard line.
Steve Young has really calmed down. He's doing this also without a huddle. The 49ers, again, are not huddling. You can see here just a simple hook pattern. Just run up and throw a hook, get up on the line of scrimmage, and call another play.
John Taylor with that catch for 11 yards. Young 4 of 6 for 31. And here's the running play of Dexter Carter. And now for an update, let's go back to Greg Gumbel in our New York studios.
Well, Vern, how did Frank Reich do subbing for the injured Jim Kelly at Buffalo today? He threw 2 touchdown passes, including this one to Andre Reed. The Bills won at 24-14. They claim the AFC East, and the assault on the goalpost begins. Let's go back to Vern and John.
And it strikes me it was warmer in Buffalo than here in San Francisco. Here's Young. Tom Rathman. And he's to the 24. That's a gain of 3.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Steve Young because we talked to him yesterday, and he didn't know he was starting this game. Joe Montana was in the locker room. He had his football clothes on when they decided that he wouldn't play. So maybe that's good. Maybe you don't have a chance to get nervous. Then to start when you didn't know you got, and then start with a no-huddle offense, this is amazing.
And here's Dexter Carter, who is playing in place of the injured Roger Craig. Toy Cook with a tackle. Well, the no-huddle offense, of course, keeps New Orleans in that same defense. They can't make their substitutions.
Well, I think this whole thing has to confuse the New Orleans defense. One, the 49ers coming in here with a different quarterback. and then 2, going a no-huddle offense, a quick-hitting offense all the way down the field, and with great mixture. You know, I mean, he's thrown it to Rathman, he's thrown it to Rice, he's thrown it to Taylor, he's thrown it to Brent Jones. He has really confused and moved this ball around.
And he's gotten another 1st and 10. Young back, here comes Swilling. Young going deep, over Massey, incomplete. Intended for John Taylor, 7 yards into the end zone. Philadelphia knocks out Troy Aikman. That's the 6th quarterback the Eagles have sent to the sidelines this year. Cincinnati leading Houston, as the Oilers have been up and down, and Pittsburgh jumps all over Cleveland.
Yeah, I think when you see all those quarterbacks going down, and Joe Montana does have a little groin pull, and maybe that's the reason George Seifert decided to say, hey, the heck with it, we're not taking a chance here.
John Taylor. And here is what they do so well, John. They turn a 5-yard pass into a 20-yard gain.
I think everyone thinks the 49er offense that, you know, they throw so much. They do, but they don't throw deep a lot. Look here. This is about a 4-yard pass. He catches it there. Straight arm. Now he gains another 5. Now 10. Now 12 or 13 yards. So he catches it at about 4, and then with the running adds another 12 or 13 yards to it.
All of that results in a 1st and goal at the 1-yard line. This is the opening drive of the ball game for the 49ers. Young, directing traffic, fires incomplete. And a diving John Taylor helps save a young lady.
And they've done this whole drive again without a huddle. The 49ers have yet to get in a huddle. This is what Steve Young does different, of course, than Joe Montana. Obviously, he throws left-handed, but if he's going to move, he will move to his left. Montana, when he moves or is flush, is usually to the right.
14th play of this drive coming up, and they have relied on the pass. 10 passes and 3 running plays thus far. Rathman, touchdown. That's the 7th rushing touchdown of the season for Tom Rathman.
I talked to Tom Rathman yesterday, and he said that he really is starting to feel good for the first time. He's had everything from neck to shoulder to elbow injuries to the gout and everything, and he said yesterday, he said, I feel good now. He's going to start feeling good. This is a good time to start feeling good.
Well, you see that Rathman has more than half of the touchdowns on the ground. And this has been a team struggling with its rushing attack throughout the season. Gopher's kick is good. And a most impressive start to the ball game. Jim Mora trying to urge his troops on. They trail by 7.
Dedication to quality. It's one reason why the U.S. government awarded Cadillac the 1990 Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. And it's why Cadillac stands as an American automotive standard for the world in performance, comfort, and safety. Evidence of the inherent value of a Cadillac. Value that inspires the highest owner loyalty of any leading luxury automobile.
What do you give a man who has the look, the touch, the smile? Preferred stock from the House of Stetson. The new, the now, the gift. Preferred stock, the extra smooth cologne for an extra special man.
Presenting a turning point in the history of screwdriving. The Black & Decker cordless screwdriver. A screwdriver so powerful it can drive 100 screws on a single charge. The Black & Decker cordless screwdriver. A powerful gift idea.
Okay, everybody, listen up.
27 million Americans are illiterate. Albert Davis was one of them.
My dear family, for all these years, I have wanted to write about what you mean to me, but I could not write.
Look for this Coors Light display. Learn how you can help. Teach someone to read.
Today, I can read.
Dexter Carter did not have a huge role in that drive, nor did Brent Jones. Tom Rathman got the touchdown. and a most impressive start for the 49ers.
And a most impressive start was Steve Young. You know, I've seen Steve Young over the years, and this was the most relaxed I've seen him. You know, you talk about cool, we always talk about Joe Montana. Steve Young had never really been a cool guy, but on that drive he was. Maybe the fact that he didn't know he was going to start, and then right before the game time, Joe Montana says, hey, I'm not dressing, you're starting, Steve. Maybe he didn't have time to get nervous.
And he was 6 of 10 on the drive as the 49ers go 67 yards in 14 plays, and Mike Coper will kick off. Atkins and Fennerty again, the deep man. This will be Gil Fennerty from the 3. And he is out to the 23-yard line following the 20-yard return. Time has been called. The 49ers have 7 zip. Steve Walsh and the Saints have the ball.
We're rethinking the way we're making things in this country. We have to. We're in a world market that is unbelievable.
If you don't build a good product, if you don't take care of your customer, they'll go somewhere else.
There are a lot of small towns that do depend on these factories.
See, what worked 40 years ago won't work anymore.
This is today, now.
Throughout America, IBM is helping to create a new kind of factory where computers are revolutionizing the entire manufacturing process. And that's making America's products more competitive and America's factories better places to work.
What you want to do today is you want to go home at night, you feel good, and you feel you got something done.
An American classic. The Cadillac Brougham gains new power from a new V8 with even greater highway mileage. America's longest production car also comes with a new no-deductible bumper-to-bumper warranty and 24-hour Cadillac roadside service to combine the luxury of a personal limousine with the peace of mind of owning a Cadillac. Another reason why the only way to travel is Cadillac style. And now Brougham also comes with a $1,500 bonus direct from Cadillac.
Midway through the first quarter at Candlestick on this December afternoon, Philadelphia defeats Dallas, and if they win next week, they will secure the home field advantage for the wild card game. Buffalo, a big winner today. James Brooks, 201 yards rushing in Cincinnati's win. Pittsburgh rolled up that lead at halftime and held on. Chicago over Tampa Bay knocks the Tampa Bay team out. So Atlanta ended their losing streak, and the Jets all over New England. The Giants and Phoenix are scoreless in the first quarter. Steve DeBerg is playing, by the way, and threw a touchdown pass in that Kansas City game.
I saw that left finger of his, and I wonder how he could take a snap with that hand.
Wasn't that nasty? Here's Walsh back to throw, and he's got his tight end wide open. That's John Tice, and only the 11th catch of the season for John Tice.
You know, an interesting thing happened. They ran Michael Carter out of the game. He was in on the play before. And I think what they said is he has Vaseline on his jersey. So they sent him out of the game and told him to get it off there. You can see the equipment man there is going to start rubbing there and taking the Vaseline or whatever it is on there, because they'll do that, you know, so the offensive guy, if he grabs him, will slide right off.
19-yard gain on the last play for Steve Walsh. This time, and it was intended for Perryman, incomplete. Steve Walsh, of course, acquired from Dallas 4 games into the season, said he's having a tough time, John, because this is not as disciplined an offense as Dallas had.
Well, I think he's having a tough time because he doesn't have a lot of experience in the league, because he didn't have a training camp, because he doesn't know the guys, you know, and it just takes time. And you know, it's going to take him an off season and a training camp to get used to what they're doing. There's Carl Smith. He's the offensive coordinator, the guy who makes these calls. But as you say, it's a totally different offense from what he was used to.
Second down and 10. 7-0, 49ers lead midway through quarter number 1. Pile moves a little bit in the direction he wanted, but only for 2 yards.
Yeah, that's Pete Kugler in there, number 67. He was in there in the tackle. He's the guy that came in for Michael Carter when Gene Barth, the referee, asked Carter to leave the game. You know, Kugler played in the Super Bowl last year, and I saw him, and after that game, he said, "This is my last game." He retired. Then the 49ers played a game up in Denver. He went to the game, saw the guys. They said, "Why don't you come back and play again?" He was retired and living in Denver. He said, "Yeah, okay, if you need me, I'll come back."
The guys all over the country wish it was that easy, huh?
Yeah, so he came back, going for a three-peat.
Walsh, crossing pattern. That's caught. First down at the 37-yard line. Floyd Turner, a 19-yard gain.
You can see they had 3 receivers out there in that side. Now, that's a nice lineup, you see. Then you bring them all off together. Then you break them out. You break one to the outside, one deep to the inside, and then the last guy, or the underneath guy, was Floyd Turner, and that was the guy that Steve Walsh hit.
Saw that Eric Davis tried to bump and run with him, and then Davis slipped and fell. First down at the 37-yard line. 7-0. 49ers lead it. Reuben Mays, he weaves to the right side and gets a couple to the 35.
Yeah, it sounded like Steve Walsh was up there yelling 66, 66 like it was an audible. He says that he doesn't have an audible. I asked him last night, how much of the time do you audible? You know, what percentage of the time? And he said 0. I don't have any audible.
That limits you somewhat, I would think.
It does. I mean, you just go in and whatever Carl Smith calls, Steve Walsh runs.
Second down and 8 from the 35-yard line. 49ers lead on a 1-yard Raffman touchdown run. And Joel Hilgenberg is indicating something wrong with the ball, so the umpire stops the clock and we'll check it.
There's some grease down there somewhere.
Vaseline on the ball, huh?
Yeah, they must have really had Michael Carter greased up because he's still not in the game. Look, Hilgenberg's looking around. The ball slipped off his hands, and they're talking about, look, there's some stuff in the ball. There's some grease in the ball. They got grease all over the place. Look, guys are trying to get their hands dry. Carter has really fouled this game up, and he hasn't even gotten back in there yet. They greased old Michael Carter down, and he got it all over the field. He can't play anymore.
I'm amazed the grease hasn't frozen. Second down and 8. Walsh looks again. This is not what he does best, but he's got some room. Oh, my gracious. Steve Walsh came in for the season. He had gained 6 yards, and he triples that amount with that one run of 18.
Well, one of them was a terrible tackle. One, they give him a lot of time. They give him a lane to run in. Now watch this. They don't expect him to run, but you see when he sees this right here, he has no one open. But look at this hole. Now watch number 40 here. He makes a terrible tackle. I mean, that is part of the run. I mean, he goes like that. He lets a quarterback make a move on him like that. That should never happen to a defensive back.
That's a gain of 18, and I'm sure Walsh must have been thinking somewhere in his subconscious about Kelly and Sims and DeBerg and others who've gone down week or so. Here's Gil Fennerty, and Dave Weimer puts a pop on him as Fennerty gets down at the 10. Well, how many quarterbacks have been hurt, John? It's been devastating the last couple of weeks.
I think when you see that, you know, you see that DeBerg and Harbaugh and Kelly and Sims, and to me that changes the whole thing. Aikman, I think that, you know, a week ago maybe the Buffalo Bills were the best team in the AFC. They lose Kelly. You know they're not. The Giants, I think, had a real shot at it. Without Sims, I don't think they have as strong a shot at it. The Cowboys looked like they were going to get that third wild spot. Now they lose Aikman. I don't think they have the shot at it now.
Saints trying to tie it up. They've got a second down and 3 at the 49er 10. And again, it looks like an audible, but we were told there are none. And here's Hayward. He's got a little bit of room and a lot of weight. And he gains just a couple of yards. He's picked up 5, but he does get a first down at the 6.
Of course, you know, he says that it's not what you weigh, it's how you play. And Jim Mora thinks that he weighs a little too much. They say that he got up to 270 pounds, but, you know, he can do things. I mean, here's a guy that, bounced it to the outside and outran that whole group. Had a little trouble straightening it up there and staying in bounds, but I think Craig Hayward is one of those guys that you either have to play him a lot and give him the ball a lot or get rid of him.
Not the most disciplined guy.
I don't think he's a tweener. I don't think he's a guy that can carry it 7-8 times a game.
Finnerty tries to spin, the one-time CFL standout, and he gets nothing. Saints have had offensive problems this year, and they're trying to get into the end zone and tie this up. There's Pierce Holt, number 78.
He's had a good year. I think that, that in this whole 49er thing that, you kind of forget the defense generally, and their defensive line, Pierce Holt and Kevin Fagan, two guys that have been the stalwarts there that play every down in a defense that is a very, very good defense.
Whistle before the snap. Time has been called by San Francisco.
Yeah, they had 12 guys out on the field, Vern. That's what happened. Look at all these guys here. You see, you got a whole load here. There's about 11 there, and then you got one here, so they don't let you play with 12.
So the 49ers use one of their allotted 3, and time has been called with San Francisco up by 7.
Dedication to owner satisfaction. It's one reason why the U.S. government awarded Cadillac the 1990 Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award, as evidenced by Cadillac Roadside Service, the finest roadside service program offered by any automaker, providing on-the-spot service nights, weekends, and holidays, and putting a factory-trained service advisor just a phone call away, 24 hours a day.
What's this? Bunny slippers?
Of all the last-minute gifts you can buy, one's appreciated more than all the rest.
Wow.
McDonald's gift certificates.
Thanks, Mom. McDonald's for holiday fun.
What's that fragrance you're wearing?
Make a statement without saying a word.
The only thing better than making it to the top is making it to the bottom.
It's the right feeling now.
Because you know looking good isn't just for summer.
It's the right feeling now.
Because you know winter's the time to turn up the heat. So call for the silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
It's the right feeling now.
Wednesday.
We have a special guest with us tonight.
You've got to stop Taylor.
Why?
He had a stroke, and he could only say one word.
Hooters.
WIOU.
Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Vern Lundquist sitting in for Pat Summerall along with John Madden. 7-0 49ers, second down and goal for the Saints. A quite impressive drive now led by Steve Walsh. They are at the 5 with second down. 3 tight end set. Walsh, short drop. Looks left all the way, fires left, caught, touchdown. A flag that should be called against the 49ers. And Greg Scales, if the play stands, has caught his first touchdown pass of the season.
Well, Jim Morris says that he's the third tight end, Greg Scales is, but probably the best receiver of the 3.
Interference, 53 defense. Penalty refused, touchdown.
As you said, that was a heck of a catch by Greg Scales. The penalty is against number 53, Bill Romanowski. And you're going to see it right there at the end. You see him right here. Romanowski is the guy covering him. You see him there, and now he didn't look back at all. Had Romanowski looked back, he would have had a chance. But the fact that he was looking at Scales, he didn't.
Morton Anderson is going back to the Pro Bowl again this season, tacks on the extra point. Walsh to Scales has evened it up at 7.
Pour it on, work it out. If you're talking about sports, that's what it's all about. So pump it up, pump it out, pour it on and work it out.
Because Because after working out, you don't want to fill up. So reach for the Silver Bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
Talking about Coors Light, it's the right beer now. Pour it on and work it out.
Over the years, much has changed about the game. Today, the best in the business fly. And the airline that takes over 300 college and pro teams to their chosen field is United. Come fly the friendly skies.
The United States government has awarded Cadillac the highest honor in American business, the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. It is the first time this award has been given to an automobile company for its quality achievements in satisfying the customer. So in a very real way, Cadillac's success is also a victory for the American consumer. Another reason why the only way to travel is Cadillac style.
So you save up all year. You're going to come to California on vacation. It's Christmas. You want to see the water, and the heck with the temperature.
Yeah, you know, I've been here all week, and it got down in the Bay Area to like 15 degrees, and I just sent those guys out there to test the water. I'm going to do that tomorrow.
If the bus breaks down, that's your escape south.
I'm not going to wear a wetsuit, though.
I'll be there to take pictures.
Those guys are chicken.
Out to the 24, Dexter Cutter, and Benny Thompson, a star of the special teams for this New Orleans Saint team, comes down and makes the tackle.
Well, you know, they say that Benny Thompson, number 37 here, is one of the best special team cover guys in football. There's Waymer trying to block him. And, of course, that's the thing. To be one of those guys, you have to be able to get away from blocks and then make open field tackles. And if Benny Thompson is one, I know who the other one is, Renee Thompson from the New York Giants.
Something in the name, perhaps. First and 10, Young back. Second possession, kind of sidearms that ball to Dexter Carter, and he got it right on the mark for 4 yards.
See, now they're looking at the pictures there. That's the 49er defense over there. That's Pierce Holt. He's an amazing story of a guy who is blind in one eye. So he always has to, you know, just react with that one eye. So he's looking there at the formations to see where he lines up and how big the split is. You see what he's seeing is how they're blocking him and how wide the splits of the Saint offense is.
Pierce Holt, who was also a 28-year-old rookie in this league and has now become a mainstay for the 49ers. Young into the flat, caught by Wesley Walls. That's only the 5th catch of the season for the second-year tight end.
I know, you know, and that's the amazing thing is how well he's done, but how he's moved the ball around.
That's the end of the first quarter from Candlestick with our score, the Saints 7 and the 49ers 7.
Olympic Winterfest premieres, featuring the U.S. Open Professional Figure Skating Championships. Have yourself a Merry Christmas on CBS Sports. Ho, ho, ho.
The most prestigious award in football, acknowledging the one player whose gifts have graced both the field and the community. An award won only by the likes of Unitas, Lanier, Dawson, and Theismann. Players whose civic awareness made them community leaders as well as football legends. It's the Travelers NFL Man of the Year.
Going face to face with Ronnie Lott is easier than facing life without an education.
Think about it. Stay in school.
This message has been furnished by the National Football League.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Cadillac. Discover why the only way to travel is Cadillac style. IBM, whatever your size, whatever your needs, IBM is working to bring you the best solutions. And by Coors Light, the one that won't slow you down. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
We began the second quarter on this December 23rd afternoon from Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The score tied 7-7. Vern Lundquist along with John Madden. The Saints still alive for a playoff spot. If they win this game and then they win at home against the Rams, and if Dallas loses at Atlanta next week, New Orleans becomes the final wild card spot. 3rd down and 4. Harry Sidney comes into the lineup now as a running back behind Steve Young. Jerry Rice with the catch as Young delivers on a line after he had, or just prior to getting hit.
This is the thing that Jerry Rice does. You know, he is so strong and so quick and so explosive. And then the next thing, he's such a good runner after he catches the ball. Now watch the push that they get. Steve Young's going to get a hit here. He takes a 3-step drop. Now watch, just as he throws the ball, he gets his sinuses cleaned out.
That's Pig Goff, Robert Pig Goff, nicknamed Pig by a brother when he was a child, and said he doesn't want to be referred to as Robert.
No, he likes to be called Piggy. Anytime Piggy hits you in the nose when you throw the ball, it's harder to throw.
Right side, Dexter Carter to the 47, fumble. Carter had problems earlier in the season, and now a fracas breaks out as the first-round draft choice from Florida State loses the ball, and the Saints come up with it.
And I think, you know, Carter wanted to get it back, and the one thing when you come into this league as a rookie first-round draft pick, you don't want to be known as a fumbler. So a big part of that is frustration on Dexter Carter's part.
Gene Barth indicates Saints ball.
Just watch it. You'll see it. The ball right there on the right side of the screen. You see it. It's already, it was out. It came out of his left arm and was on the back of one of the New Orleans Saints. I'm sure that that's one they'll probably look at again. But you never know when the whistle blows. Yep. See, you can see that the ball came out and the knee was down.
Call stands, fumble, and first down.
It is a fumble and it is a first down, but the key is when the whistle blows, that's when the ball is dead.
And a pat on the shoulder from Guy McIntyre for Dexter Carter.
Well, if there's anything that kills a running back, it's just fumbling. I mean, they'd rather do anything than have a fumble.
Steve Walsh and the Saints, the score tied 7-7. Walsh hits. Giants still have an early lead over Phoenix. And DeBerg with a touchdown pass to Barry Word, 14-7. Troy Aikman knocked out with a separated shoulder for the Dallas Cowboys. And a big one for Buffalo.
Right, and then the Eagles win the right to host that wild card game. And I know that was one of the objectives they had when we talked to them last week. They said they know they're going to be in the playoffs. They'd like to have that first game at home.
2nd and 10, New Orleans. 49ers coming with a blitz. Walsh across the middle with a crossing pattern. And he hits Gil Fenerty out of the backfield, and that is a first down at the 29. So a 17-yard gain as the Saints try and convert this turnover into a score.
Yeah, we talk about how, you know, on that first drive, how, you know, cool that Steve Young looked. I'll tell you, Steve Walsh looks pretty cool on these drives. He looks like if that front offensive line can give him time, that he can get the ball to his receivers.
1st and 10 now from the 29. Fenerty, Hayward provides the block, and Fenerty is cut down after a gain of a couple. Well, Well, Steve Walsh, when he was with Dallas last year, started against the 49ers and said last night that he had a pretty decent game, and indeed he did. Here's what he accomplished last year.
Well, you know, and it was so impressive to the 49ers that when he was available, the Cowboys decided that they were going to trade him, that the 49ers were one of the teams that looked seriously at trading for him. I don't know how comfortable they feel that they're going to be able to keep Steve Young here for a long period of time.
Yeah, Young in the final year of his contract, and he is now 29 years of age. And Montana may go on till he is as old as Methuselah. Walsh darts out of traffic, pulls up and finds his receiver, Eric Martin, for another first down. This one at the 10 and a gain of 17.
Yeah, the thing that Steve Walsh does here, watch, he's going to get pressure from his backside, from the left of the screen. See, now he feels the pressure from the left. You see it? He can feel it back here. Now he knows the place to escape is there. Now he does a good job. Now once you run out there, see, now that opens a whole new thing for him. So a quarterback not only has to see his receivers, but he has to feel the rushers.
And another excellent drive thus far. First and goal from the 10-yard line. Line formation, safety blitz coming. Dave Waymer. David Waymer came firing through, timed it perfectly, and made the tackle.
That was a pretty good call. That was a good call by the 49ers, and knowing exactly the time. You're going to see Waymer right here. Now what he wants to do is he wants to hit this hole right in here about the time that ball snapped. Now watch how he does it. He's watching, he bluffs, he starts that thing, and just as that ball was snapped, Dave Waymer was right in the hole.
Still the all-time leading pass interceptor for the New Orleans Saints, Dave Waymer. Second and goal from the 12, 7-7 ball game. 11:05 to go first half. Walsh batted back, hit by Charles Haley and rejected. That looked like a block shot in basketball.
And I think Stan Brock really had him blocked pretty well. Watch number 67. He's blocking here against Haley. He has him there. Haley just goes up, and it hit him right in the helmet. Watch this. I mean, Haley really gets up in the air. You talk about a guy who is an athlete. You know, most defensive linemen, or he's listed as a linebacker, but he's really a defensive end, but they can't jump that high.
Saw that he leads the NFC in sacks. He trails Bruce Smith, of course, at Buffalo. Third and goal from the 12. Blitz coming again. In the corner, up for grabs, incomplete. Gerald Alpin says, I got it. But the official ruling was he was juggling the ball over Kevin Lewis in the end zone.
I don't know that that wasn't offensive interference. Watch Alpin. He's going to push there when that ball's in the air. Looks like he gives a push there before the ball gets there. Hey, that's a pretty good throw, though. I mean, he hit him right there in the hands. And by the time he gets control of it, of course, he's out of bounds.
They are checking the replay to see if indeed he was.
The replay official is reviewing the play.
I don't know that there's anything to review there other than the fact that was he pushed out. If they said that he was pushed out,
incomplete,
then you know, it would be a touchdown. But they said no, that he went out, so he didn't have control of it or anything.
So that brings on Morton Anderson from 30 yards away. Anderson rebounding after missing the Pro Bowl last year. A superb season. He's currently the third all-time percentage leader in the NFL. And he's now 18 of 22 for 1990. So Jim Mora's team gets 3 out of the fumble recovery, and they take the lead at 10-7.
The Chevy Corsica has better aerodynamics than a Porsche 928 and a gas-charged independent front suspension, which helps you hold the road. Corsica also has a new user-friendly interior, which helps you hold the most important things. It's a very comforting way more people are winning with.
The heartbeat of America, that's today's Chevrolet.
And now it's easy to win with an efficient new Chevy Corsica.
Everywhere you look, there's a reason to use Visine. That's why there are now 4 different Visines to get the red out and provide just the relief you need, no matter what causes the irritation. So now, look no further than Visine.
The thirst for adventure is Michelob Dry. Refreshing beyond the ordinary. And once you've experienced the bold taste with no aftertaste, there is no going back.
Here's the way the playoffs would unfold if the season ended today. Dallas would open at Chicago, Washington at Philadelphia. The 49ers and Giants would host the winners, but that is by no means set in concrete. The Cowboys losing today and also losing their quarterback must go to Atlanta and win next week to get in the playoffs. If the Saints win here and they win at home against the Rams a week from Monday night, and if Dallas loses, then New Orleans claims that spot, and Phoenix is still mathematically alive. That kick out of bounds, so the effort of Benny Thompson will go unrewarded this time. The Saints, by the way, lead the NFL in kickoff coverage, largely led by that man. They are giving up an average return of only 14.6 yards.
Jim Mora, you know, who doesn't give a lot of accolades out, especially in this year, calls him a wild man. He says Benny Thompson is the best special teams guy he's ever had. He said the guy just runs down there on those kicks. He said just like a wild man, and you kind of like that. I remember when I used to coach, I used to have this thing. I used to say that special teams breeds fanaticism. Well, they like work like that.
That'd be the title of a good book.
Yeah.
You may add to the list.
Yeah, but then I had to change it because I had too many penalties. Then I said I had to change it to control fanaticism.
That pass deep, incomplete.
Because if you get wild guys just running all over the place and knocking them, and they hit them in the front, the back, before the whistle blows, after the whistle blows, when they're out of bounds, up in the stands, in the tunnel, that time. And they said, Coach, you said to be a fanatic. I said, no, not all the time. Then I changed it, and I said, special teams breeds controlled fanaticism. That's what Benny Thompson has.
See, it has a calmer feel to it.
Yeah, calm people.
Steve Young, who's been calm throughout thus far. 6 different receivers. Second down and 10. Now the sweep, it's Dexter Carter. The 74-yard run last week against the Rams for the touchdown, gets 8 this time.
You see Carter in the end of that play, he was putting that away. He wasn't going to fumble again. There on the Saints sideline, that's the offensive group. You know, offensive players don't even watch when the other team offense is there or defense is there. See, they're talking about blocking, how they're going to block a play.
Now, see, they're looking at the pictures, too. There's Hobie Brenner, Stan Brock.
And they're talking, see, Hobie Brenner's a tight end. Stan Brock is a right tackle. So that's what they want to get on the same page. See, linemen always want to be on the same page, but the tight end and tackle work together in blocking combination.
49ers use their second timeout. Play clock was down. And so Steve Young will head over to the sideline to talk with George Seifert. 49ers with 1 timeout remaining. They trail by 3.
The same thing every Saturday. He puts on those old blue jeans and goes out with that old dog, and he's gone all day. He says he's going to bring back dinner, but all he ever brings back is that old dog.
Here's to old dogs, Saturday mornings, and comfortable blue jeans. Wrangler.
Getting to know
Geostorm. Great way to get away. 16 valves. Hello, road. The turns. The hills. This is it. Now this could be contagious.
Getting to know you.
Now's the time to get to know the Geostorm at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
Tots, the premium choice.
Lady Stetson.
Independence.
A declaration of independence. Wear it.
Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern, join CBS Sports for one of the more intense rivalries in college basketball. Kentucky taking on Louisville. Rick Pitino is trying to bring the Wildcats back from the depths, while Denny Crum's Cardinals are led by high-scoring Everett Sullivan, who had 31 points in the Louisville win last night over George Mason. That's Saturday, Kentucky and Louisville on CBS Sports. Here at Candlestick, 9:51 to go, first half. 3rd and 2. 49ers perfect on third down conversions so far. Not this time, as Steve Young is sacked and a flag is also dropped on the far side. Ronaldo Turnbull, who has 6 sacks, the rookie, may have picked up his 7th at the play stands. Yep, it will.
What the Saints wanted to do was get to the inside. You see, Turnbull starts outside, then he's going to come right up in that gap right there. You see, that's where they thought they could put the pressure on Montana. Now, they didn't expect Steve Young to be there, but they figured they wanted to get right up the middle, get pressure on him. That's where Turnbull came on that one.
Now, Barry Hilton, you can see his average not that gaudy, 37.5, but Seifert said yesterday he's punted better since the Giant game here on Monday night. Vince Buck goes back to make the catch. There was no fair catch signal called, and nothing on the return. 37-yard punt. Greg Cox makes the tackle. 10-7 New Orleans.
These people are about to become winners during Chevrolet Geo wintertime.
Sir, what is the best-selling line of cars, and which trucks are more people switching to? Starts with C.
Chevy. Brilliant. You can win with cash back or low financing. Miss, who has the most fuel-efficient line of cars and trucks in America?
I know this.
Getting to know you.
Geo.
Yes, Geo, you can win with a first-time buyer bonus.
I knew that.
You too can be a winner during wintertime at your Chevy Geo dealer.
The Mona Lisa has no eyebrows. Venus de Milo lacks arms. Chickens have no lips. Why ask why? Try Bud Dry. It's cold filtered for smooth draft taste and dry brewed for no aftertaste. So when it comes to refreshment, nothing's missing.
Iron cologne for men.
When you rinse first with Plax, normal everyday brushing takes on a whole new meaning. Plax, clinically proven to remove more plaque than brushing alone.
On the NFL Today, it's the unbelievable, inconceivable, one-of-a-kind, whoa boy, oh my, yes sir, how the heck did they? Plays of the year, next Sunday.
9:18 to go first half. The Fuji blimp is being piloted today by Senior Captain John McHugh and Captain Gary Fabian. The Fuji blimp providing our gorgeous views of the Bay Area from on top. Sellout crowd at Candlestick, and honest, it looks like most of the seats are filled. One might have thought some of the season ticket holders would stay home in Cape Warm today.
No, these people are tough here. It's been colder all week. It's starting to warm up.
You sound like a Bay Area resident.
Well, no, I am. I know the Bay Area. We're hardy people.
Hardy
There's
bunch.
Big old hardy people up here.
Listen, I came out of minus 30 degrees in Steamboat Springs the other night. Here's the flea flicker. Walsh back, double coverage. Waymer, 6th interception of the year. And he will be ruled down at the 31. And it must be gratifying for Dave Waymer, left unprotected by Jim Moore and the staff a year ago, to get his 6th interception against his former team.
You know, Dave Waymer is a very smart player. You are not going to fool Waymer. They go on the flea flicker. You see 43 right there? He didn't bite for the run. He just waited. He's playing deep center field. He's going to stay as deep as the deepest. And that's exactly what he did. Now he's talking over there to Ronnie Lott, who's pointing to him and saying, see where you did. That's the smartest place you could be.
And it was when Waymer became available, by the way, that Ronnie Lott went into the coaching staff and said, look, if we can get this guy, get him out here.
And I think if Jim Mora had one decision that he could take back, it would be that one. I don't think he wanted to lose David Waymer.
Dexter Carter up the middle. And out to the 40-yard line, 9-yard pickup. Giants, Rodney Hampton, a 2-yard run. Kansas City still leading San Diego by 7. And Randall Cunningham, by the way, ran for 52 yards in that game. He needs 88 to tie the quarterback single-season rushing record held by Bobby Douglas. Now Keith Henderson has come in for George Seifert's bunch.
I think Dexter Carter hurt something on that play, Vern. It was either his left shoulder or left hand because he kind of took himself out. See down there, I think it's his left hand. It's a whole left side. You can see they're checking his, the neck and head and how it moves down there because he grabbed early. He grabbed his left shoulder, then he grabbed his left hand, then he came off the field.
2nd and 1 after the measurement. Keith Henderson just activated this week. Gets his first carry. Oh boy, will he remember that. That's his first carry of the season. Swilling and Cook. Johnson celebrate. Johnson going to the Pro Bowl this year.
Well, I think that whole left side of the line, watch McIntyre there. He drives off, and they just throw him right back into Henderson. That was McIntyre. The left guard, when you get there, you got to get some movement. And when you tie into your guy, and your guy gives you movement backwards, that's going to happen. Vaughn Johnson just stuffed Guy McIntyre. The interesting thing is they're both going to the Pro Bowl. They can talk about that one.
3rd and 2, no gain for Henderson. And now Henderson out of the backfield in motion. Rasmussen will carry. And another 3rd down conversion. Toy Cook makes the tackle. We are at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The New Orleans Saints, after a fumble recovery, kicked a field goal. Morton Anderson got it from 30 yards out. That's the difference in the game. 2 impressive drives, won by either team. It's 10-7, Vern Lundquist, along with John Madden. And again, just to reset the motivating factor for the Saints, if they win here and win next Monday night against the Rams, and if Dallas loses, all the ifs would add up to a Jim Mora's team in the playoffs. 1st and 10. Blitz threatened. They try the reverse. And Ricky Jackson stayed at home, got some help from Pat Swilling, and said, thanks a lot.
I think, if there's one strong part on this Saint team, it's those linebackers. I think when you try and run reverses and those type of things, you're trying to fool the linebackers, and I don't think you can fool the Jacksons and the Swillings and those guys.
Are they as good as a group as any team in the league?
I would think so. I would think that when Carl Banks is healthy and Lawrence Taylor is at the top of his game, that those are probably the best group of linebackers. But I would think that these 4 here with the Saints would be the next best.
2nd down. Young back. Flag is down. The pass is caught by Brent Jones. There are 2 flags down, one on the far side of the field and one in the offensive backfield.
That's probably Bubba Perez blocking on Swilling. Bubba's done a pretty good job on Swilling, but you can tell Bubba, he's saying he didn't do it. Got that helmet fitting tight.
It's number 77. He was too far up the line of scrimmage, and he was holding.
Oh, that's...
They got the double dipper on him. You see, here it is right here. That's the holding part. But the other penalty they got on him was that he lined up in the backfield. You see, he got the hand up there, the face mask, the right hand. He did everything there to Swilling. But before that, the way he lined up in the backfield.
Steve Young said of Bubba Parrish yesterday, and Bubba has added a couple of pounds. He says it's been a tough month for Bubba between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Bubba's had a good holiday season. But you see what they do here is they're saying that Bubba here is lined up back off the ball. So he's back too far. He's in the backfield, which he is. But when you weigh 350 pounds, some of you is going to be on the line of scrimmage, and other of you is going to be in the backfield. You can't penalize a man for that.
The other of you got caught. Young back. Brent Jones. And they got a bunch of it back. He's out of bounds at the 47. Gain of 16.
One of the things Swilling said that he wanted to do against Bubba, and watch it right here, is he said he wanted to spin against him. In other words, start up the field. See how he starts up there? Now stop. Now spin, and then see how he spun, and then he came inside? Just do that. That was the type of move that he was trying to do. But Steve Young got rid of the ball too quickly.
And Brent Jones picked up 16. A pinched nerve for Dexter Carter is the report from the bench. Not known if he'll be available to return to the ballgame. 3rd and 6. And again, Roger Craig is not suited up today. Ronnie Lott is not suited up. And Joe Montana is not suited up, though Montana is not on the inactive list. Young hit. John Taylor can't make the catch. Pass sailed a little bit on Steve Young.
You know, Bubba does a pretty good job of blocking, though. I mean, you get him when he makes a penalty. You get him when someone beats him. But when you watch him, he is a very good pass protector. And, of course, that was Ronaldo Turnbull again who was putting the pressure. That wasn't Bubba's guy. But I think sometimes you get carried away with that and you forget that this guy is a good football player.
You know, he's a very gregarious guy, and I think he said, I don't mind if you show me when I get beat, as long as you even it up. Flag is down. Fair catch made at the 14-yard line by Vince Buck.
But it's one of those things. I mean, he's drawing Pat Swilling today, who's a Pro Bowl player, and Pat Swilling hasn't made a play yet. So Bubba is throwing a shutout in the passing game.
38-yard punt. If the play stands, there is a flag down. And it would appear it's going to be against the 49ers. Gene Atkins saying, let's take the penalty.
Illegal substitution, number 23 offense. He has to be in at least to the numbers to make an illegal substitution. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
That's Spencer Tillman.
Yeah, what happens is Spencer Tillman, you see, didn't come all the way into the huddle. You can see him, he's still on the numbers right now. Now he's coming in beyond the numbers. The player doesn't have to come all the way into the huddle, but he has to at least pass the numbers on the field.
And the purpose of that, of course, is to keep teams from hiding somebody over near the sideline.
Yeah, so they just don't come off the sideline and start playing on you.
So Barry Hilton will punt it again. Wesley Wall snaps it back. The punt block was on, but they do not get there. And Vince Buck picks it up on one hop, tries to break loose, gets to the 32. And even 5 minutes remaining in the first half, Steve Young's team trails the New Orleans Saints 10-7.
USC takes on Michigan State, the John Hancock Bowl, New Year's Eve day.
Why does a man have to do what a man has to do?
2, 3, 4.
Try Bud Dry. Cold filtered for smooth draft taste. Dry brewed for no aftertaste. Refreshing proof that men still know what they're doing.
It's Chevrolet Geo wintertime, where everyone can win with the trucks more people are switching to.
Sir, how many doors does this 4-door Chevy S10 Blazer have?
4.
Close enough.
You can win with cashback or low financing. And what's your favorite pickup?
Chevy half-ton. It's America's favorite, too. And you can win with cashback on Chevy pickups, Astros, Suburbans.
Wrap it up. I'll take it.
You got it. Better get trucking to your Chevy Geo dealer during wintertime.
Randall is surging, Reggie is sacking, and the Eagles are playoff bound. By the time they get to Phoenix, they could be soaring next Saturday.
Will a man choose what he wants?
Whole town turns to you.
Or will he choose what's right?
I turn to you.
Even if it will change his life forever.
Draw!
For Lee Horsley, his only choice now is to be the law.
Have it your way.
Guns of Paradise, premiering Friday, January 4th.
Christmas Day, join CBS Sports at 3 o'clock Eastern and 2 o'clock Pacific for an Olympic Winterfest countdown to Albertville. Co-hosted by Tim McCarver and Paula Zahn, it'll feature the U.S. Open Professional Figure Skating Championship, including gold medalist Scott Hamilton and Katarina Witt, and the 1990 U.S.-USSR Hockey Challenge. Christmas Day, 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific time. Saints lead at 10-7. Brett Perryman starts in motion. Handoff goes to Gil Fennerty, gets an opening and a block, and it's across the 40 to the 43. That's another nice run.
I'll tell you, it was a good block by Jim Dombrowski. Big Dombrowski, you know, used to be the left tackle. He's the left guard now. Watch him here. Boom, he pulls. He's going to get a kick out there. And wow, they're going to run right in behind that. But watch 72. You see him coming there? Right there, 72, whack, he gets that block right there, then you get the lead, then you get the follow through. That's a pretty good looking play.
Not a bad block by Hayward either at 270.
I know, you get old Dombrowski in there first, then you bring Ironhead in behind him, you got some power going in there.
Got to do good with Dombrowski and Ironhead. Walsh back, batted back, and then knocked away. Nice defensive move by Walsh to prevent the interception.
It looked like Charles Haley was waiting there for the ball, didn't it? That was just to get the pressure coming straight up the middle, get the ball tapped. I think it's Kugler right there, 67. Yeah, Pete Kugler hits the ball. Now there's Haley. He's ready to catch it, and Walsh knocks it right out of his hands.
Things have slowed down a little bit for Steve Walsh now.
Yeah, well, you know, Kugler's been playing in there. Remember they caught I think Michael Carter in there greased up or greased down, and they put Kugler in for him. Kugler's been playing most of the game.
Jim Burt is not suited up. The other nose tackle, and Freddie Smirlis is on injured reserve. Walsh left side, man open. Eric Martin with the catch and a first down at the 49er 40-yard line. Dave Waymer with the tackle, but that's a gain of 17.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Steve Walsh if he has time like this. Now watch the protection he gets. You got to give him a clean middle. You see the 49ers have a stunt. Boom, they get everything there. Then he can step up and throw the ball like that. But you can't allow penetration in the middle.
Interesting about this Saints offensive line, with the exception of Kevin Haverdink, the other starters have played every down of every game in 1990.
Yeah, and Stan Brock, the right tackle, is in his 11th year, and Jim Morris says could very well be having his best year.
Here's Benedy, and Kugler makes the initial contact.
There's Jim Burt, the backup nose tackle. He had a scope on his shoulder. They said they had to go in there and clean up some stuff. He had some stuff in his shoulder. And they thought that since they had it clinched, that now would be a good time to do it, and then he'll be better and back for the playoffs.
You did happen to see the autographed picture from wrestler Ric Flair in his locker room yesterday.
Oh yeah, those guys. You know, a lot of football players are wrestling fans.
Taking your lead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if we could all go to WrestleMania someday, like dying and going to heaven, that'd be great.
You'd have the bus overflowing.
Yeah, coming off the top ring.
Motion left side, and they whistle the play dead. Here's Gene Barth. Giants Phoenix has now scored. It's 10-7.
Ball start, 83 offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Yeah, that was the first penalty on the Saints. One thing about the Saints, you know, this has kind of been an up and down year, and it hasn't been one of their better years, but the Saints under Jim Mora are a well-coached team. You know, I don't think they necessarily have the best players on offense or defense or special teams, but they're very well coached, and you don't get any cheap ones or free ones against the Saints usually.
12-3 in Mora's first year. This will be the first non-winning season under Jim Mora, but they do have a chance to finish at 500, 8-8. Rush is coming. The pass is caught by Craig Hayward, and somehow in traffic, Hayward came out with the ball. Romanowski finally catches up and makes the tackle short of the first down, a gain of 7. Well, Well, we have reached the 2-minute warning at Candlestick on a chilly December day. The New Orleans Saints, playing quite well, have a 3-point lead.
Light. It is magical, powerful, essential. At GTE, we place that power at the touch of your hand. The power to open any darkness, to illuminate the facts of science, brighten the arenas of sports and business, create the warm glow that means home. At GTE, we give you the power of Sylvania light in 6,000 ways, none of them small. At GTE, the power is on.
You've heard all about cold relief. Now you're going to hear about hot relief. New Tylenol Cold and Flu. With more medicine than any other hot liquid flu formula. Heat releases the power of this lemony medicine with 3 cold and flu fighters for your coughing, sneezing, and congestion. Plus Tylenol pain reliever for your fever, sore throat, aches, and pains. New Tylenol Cold and Flu. Part of Tylenol's complete cold relief line. Nobody cares for your cold like Tylenol Cold.
This is how easy it is to collate a mailing on an IBM laser printer. And how easy is it to collate with our major competitor? Probably now isn't the best time to ask. IBM laser printers. Suddenly, nothing else measures up.
You can spot someone who saved money with a second-rate antifreeze a mile away. Not all antifreeze is the same. Nothing beats Presto. And that's something you might appreciate down the road.
Saturday on CBS Sports, beginning at 3:30 Eastern with the NFL Today. The playoff-bound Eagles travel to Phoenix to take on the Cardinals. Randall Cunningham leads the way for Philly, the #1 rated passer in the NFC, who also has a shot at breaking the single-season rushing record for quarterbacks. He needs 88 more yards. That's next Saturday on CBS Sports.
That's a team that's scary, Vern, the Philadelphia Eagles, I think, to everyone in the NFC. I think you can say that the 49ers are the best team in the NFC, but I think the scariest team to everyone in the NFC is the Philadelphia Eagles.
3rd and 7. Walsh out of the shotgun. Hilgenberg snaps it back. 4-man rush. Waltz with time. In the middle, dropped by Alfin. Oh, boy, would he like to have that back. Gerald Alfin, as Steve Walsh was right on the money.
And Walsh is upset because he knew it. They had to blitz, so you had the perfect play for it. You want to go deep on it when you get the blitz. You want to go to the post. You got your guy deep. The ball is right there. He throws it right in Alfin's hands. Alfin is behind everyone else. All he has to do is catch it. Watch as he gets rid of the ball. The blitz is on, so he's going to have man-to-man coverage down there. He knew that he threw it well. I think he's waiting to get up and see if something could happen, and it didn't.
Tommy Barnhart's second punt. Don Griffin back to return it. Actually, he's just waiting at the 11 to see which direction of the corner or which corner, and now the 5-yard penalty for delay of game will come, or the option resting with the 49ers.
Delay of game, number 6 offense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Steve Young and Jerry Rice. Young finding out just about an hour before game time that he would start today. I find it interesting that in practice, he told us yesterday, he takes 30 to 40% of the snaps.
I think that's good because there are some times where the backup quarterback gets 0% of the snaps, like the Washington Redskins. They get none. I think with a guy like Montana, who has played for so long, he doesn't need all the snaps.
Fair catch called by Don Griffin. Makes the grab at the 13-yard line, so the 30-yard punt by Tommy Barnhart will not help him in his quest to overtake Sean Landeta. Well, we've talked a little bit about the NFC playoff. If the AFC playoffs began today, Cincinnati would be at Pittsburgh. And Kansas City would open at Miami with Buffalo and the Raiders hosting the winners. Cincinnati with a big win today over Houston.
You know, I was talking about Philadelphia. You know, you talk to people around the league and they say they're the scariest team in the NFC. I think if you talk about who's the scariest team in the AFC, and I'm talking about scary to go all the way to the Super Bowl, I think it's the Los Angeles Raiders right now. Yeah, I sure do.
Especially with Kelly out for Buffalo, though they won big today. Here's Young. Oh, my gosh. He almost broke that for a huge gain. As it is, he's out to the 30-yard line.
And he wants no huddle. He wants to line up there. He wants to get another score to take into the house with him. Of course, we remember that great run he had right here on that left side against the Minnesota Vikings. It was the same type of run, but he went for big yardage and won that game at Vikings. Here, you see, he's not only a good runner and a fast runner, but he is a strong runner.
And a player down for the New Orleans Saints. Not exactly sure who it is. We'll double check. In the meantime, time has been called with 1:24 to go, first half.
The bustle of the season can wear a body down. You need a place, an oasis to bring yourself around. Break from the pace, take 5 from the race. You know the one, McDonald's.
It's Holiday Shopper Survival Days at McDonald's. Take a break where the welcome's warm, the food's hot, and the service is fast.
McDonald's for food, folks are fun.
It's Holiday Shopper Survival Days at McDonald's.
Injured player for the New Orleans Saints is Troy Cook, the cornerback.
Yeah, it looks like his own man hits him here. Troy Cook is number 41, making the tackle. And then you see his own man, Sam Mills, number 51, come in.
There is Troy Cook, who was a member of the baseball team at Stanford while he was an undergraduate that won the national championship in 1987.
Yeah, we've seen that more and more this year where guys are injured by their own guys hitting them. And it's usually a defensive play where a guy's locked up in a tackle or in the process of making a tackle, and another teammate comes in to get in on that same tackle and hits him. That's just what happened to Troy Cook.
First and 10, 49ers. Young back, Young down, second sack. And this is Michael Simmons, the rookie, who made the stop.
Boy, Simmons came in there like he was shot out of a gun. I mean, he's going to start in the middle. You see him starting right there. Then he runs a spin. He comes straight up the middle. And I'll tell you, Steve Young didn't have a chance on that one.
Second down and 18. Sims gets it to Henderson. And he is dropped at the 30-yard line. Vaughn Johnson makes the tackle.
That's one thing the Saints do is, you know, and they've always played the 49ers tough. The 49ers beat them in the opening game this year 13-12, but the Saints always get a lot of guys around the ball and tackle well.
New Orleans uses one of its timeouts. They will have one left. And keep in mind the 49ers used 2 of theirs earlier, so we've got 57 seconds to go.
And there's a guy that has done a heck of a job with this 49er team, George Seifert. You know, there's always the argument, is it tougher to build a team or to keep a team? And of course, George Seifert was a guy who came in and, you know, had to keep a team up there. And he not only did it, but he won a Super Bowl with them and then came back this year and has the best record in the entire NFL.
Well, you saw that record of 30-3. Look where he stands among other coaches of note after 2 years. Seifert with a 91% winning record. Hallis Brown, and you remember Leroy Andrews.
Right, and then of course Don McCafferty. But
wait a minute, you remember Leroy?
No, I don't know. That was a bluff. I do remember Don McCafferty, and of course I remember George Hallis.
You tried to slide right by that.
Paul Brown, and then I slid to McCafferty in a bluff. You caught me. No, I've never heard of the guy.
Oh dear. Here's Steve Young.
Boom!
I heard somebody out there say boom.
I heard someone else say take his head off after they said boom. One guy said boom, and the other guy said take his head off. They're shooting live bullets, man. That's no fun when you're running out there and you're a quarterback.
First down, 35 seconds to go. 10-7, Saints lead. Young Left side, Jerry Rice. Oh, what a pass from Young to Rice.
And the 49ers do have one timeout, and they just took it. That's their last timeout. As you say, this is some catch. Jerry Rice is signaling like I'm going deep, I'm going up, just throw it to me. He goes up like this, and he just throws it, and Jerry Rice just does a jump ball. He should have went out of bounds, though.
For the season, Rice with 90 catches now.
This year gave him one of the legends of the sea. Old Spice aftershave cologne and gift packs. Now being shipped in time for the holidays. So give him the clean, classic scent of Old Spice and celebrate goodwill toward men.
Here's just before the play. You can see Jerry Rice. He's giving him the signal. You know, throw it up over my right shoulder. That's what I think he's trying to do. He's trying to get an outside release and get the ball up over his right shoulder. He made a heck of a catch. And then maybe he could have spun and got out of bounds and saved that timeout. Robert Massey was the guy covering him, and he is still down on that play. What's number 40 is Robert Massey, the cover guy. He turns the wrong way. He should have turned in to Jerry Rice. When he turns out, now he spins and goes down, and it looks like right there he goes to leg whip him, and their legs get caught up.
Massey still down at the 42-yard line. Halftime, the Giants lead Phoenix by 3. Now Massey up, the second-year man. And the big news in that Dallas-Philadelphia game, if you did not hear, is that Cowboy quarterback Troy Aikman separated his shoulder. Cincinnati with a big win. James Brooks led the way there. Cleveland fumbled the first 3 offensive plays of the game, and Bubby Brister turned them into touchdown passes. And Chicago won today. The Rams' dismal season continues, and the same could be said for the New England Patriots.
I wonder if Aikman going down there and all those quarterback injuries last week, I wonder if that had anything to do with Joe Montana not suiting up. Because I know yesterday Joe Montana was going to suit up, and he said he was okay. George Seifert said he was going to suit up and play probably half the game. And then they came to the stadium today and said, well, he has a slight groin pull, and he's not going to play at all. And sometimes you hear so many bad things happen to quarterbacks to say, the heck with it, I'm not going to take any chances. And I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers were influenced by that.
Now Young is back, chased by Goff. Robert Goff gets there, Piggy Goff. And Young is hurt. And we just have word that Steve Young, I beg your pardon, Young gets up favoring his left elbow now. Joe Montana not suited up, but he is not inactive. So that if needed, he could come back and play. We also received word, John, that Warren Moon has dislocated a thumb, and he is out for the year.
I mean, that's just devastating. I mean, it's not only happening to great quarterbacks, but it's happening at a terrible time of the year, and it's happening to teams that are either in the playoff shots or with definite playoff shots.
Warren Moon having the best season of his life in the NFL. Here's Young. Settles for Rockman, but overthrows it. Incomplete. And 10 seconds remain in the first half of play. So Aikman and Warren Moon join the list of quarterbacks who are down and out. Greg and Terry will have scores and highlights back in our New York studios. And I'm sure they will update us on the injuries to both those quarterbacks, as well as the stories of everything else.
Well, you know, it's a real dilemma. You can't play this game scared, and
right.
you know, and that's the thing you always had as a coach. They say, well, you shouldn't play this guy, you shouldn't play that guy. Well, you know, that's football. That's what the game is, and at some point you got to say the heck with it. But at another point, you got to be smart too. That was what we said earlier, that George Seifert has a dilemma.
Incomplete, intended for Mike Wilson, and that leaves 6 seconds before halftime. The report on Robert Massey is a bruised lower left leg. They will check him on at halftime to see if he can come back.
Yeah, one thing that Steve Young was telling us, he said that George Seifert during the week gets these things and he'll say, yeah, we'll do this and we'll do that. He said, then once the game starts, he becomes real ferocious. He just wants to win the game.
Earlier this season, Michael Kofer kicked a 56-yard field goal. This would be from 59 yards if it was good. That will be short. And will be returned. Gene Atkins out of the end zone.
That could be returned all the way.
You bet. One man to beat. And Kofer goes over to make the save. For just a second, it looked like Atkins might get it back. Barry Helton and Michael Kofer, the tough twosome of the 49ers, make the tackle. That's the end of the half. With our score, the New Orleans Saints 7-10 and the San Francisco 49ers 7.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why more people are winning with the heartbeat of America. Wrangler, comfortable jeans for men. And by Bud Dry. Why ask why? Try Bud Dry for refreshment that's beyond question.
Soggy first date, huh?
He's really funny, Linda.
Oh, you smell great.
Emerald. I got a raise.
You pay.
This is going too well.
We've been dating 6 months.
7.
Let's stay in tonight.
Linda, I think he's the one.
Only one antiperspirant in the world helps keep you so dry with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. Only one deodorant in the world has so many odor-fighting ingredients with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. There's only one Old Spice.
Subway bakes my bread up fresh, and that's my way. My way. I get a combo seafood club the best way. My way. Subway. You make my sub in front of me. Just the way it ought to be. It's fresh, it's hot, I know I got it. My way. Subway. My way. Subway.
Take home a sub with lean Oscar Mayer ham or roast beef and be a hero.
Let's see what to get Tiny Tim this Christmas. My old partner, Marley.
How about a waterbed from Big Sur, Scrooge?
What?
Tiny Tim will love a Big Sur Super single-size waterbed. You'll pay penny-pinching prices and pay no interest till March.
Penny-pinching prices, now that's the spirit.
Big Sur Waterbeds, America's largest. Fairview at Cole in the Westgate 1 Shopping Center in Boise.
Beta VO opener out to 2-on-2 shot, 1 has Phil Amato Key, gonna go voiceover.
Topping our news, it may be the start of the fall season, but that doesn't mean the fire season is over just yet.
Students at Boise State University should be given the choice as to how they will protect their constitutional and civil rights.
We're going to have to feed it through the microwave, though. The prosecution hopes to prove Robert Winslow, Proctor Baker, and Stephen Nelson planned the bomb game nightclub.
Well, welcome back to our studio in New York, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw. Those of you watching the New Orleans Saints and the San Francisco 49ers as the Saints look to keep their playoff hopes alive. They lead the 49ers at halftime by a score of 10-7. Now, the Phoenix Cardinals are at home against the New York Giants. The Cardinals also just barely alive in their shot for a wild card slot in the NFC. And Jeff Hostetler, the starting quarterback for the Giants today.
Play action, looking deep, frees the safety, and now a nice throw. Got it over the corner and away from the safety, and a nice job by Baker catching it and get the ball out of bounds.
The Giants were already up 3-0 in the second quarter. That set up Rodney Hampton's 1-yard touchdown run, and it was a 10-point Giant lead. But here come the Cardinals behind Tim Rosenbaugh.
Rosenbaugh, Jerry Rome, his quarterback coach, has really got this kid playing. Flagler cut earlier by the Cowboys, picked up. That's one of the reasons he's good out of the backfield catching passes.
So our score at halftime is 10-7 in favor of the New York Giants. Meanwhile, they are underway in the third quarter at San Diego. The Chiefs needing a victory to secure a playoff spot in the Western Conference, leading the Chargers 21-7. Steve DeBerg, injured left hand and all, has thrown 2 touchdown passes so far today. Now, earlier this afternoon, Big problems for the Dallas Cowboys. In Philadelphia, Troy Aikman out of the game with a separated shoulder on this hit from Clyde Simmons. Irv Cross talked with Aikman after the game.
You went out with an injury. What happened?
Well, on the play, it was after I released the ball, I just got slammed into my shoulder. They x-rayed it, and right now the doctors are saying it's a third-degree tear of a ligament in the AC joint. So they're not sure exactly what's going to be done at this point about it. I'll wait until I get back to Dallas, but at this time, it looks like I'll be out for the rest of this year anyway.
Aikman just one of several injured today. Patriots quarterback Tommy Hudson with a sprained ankle. Warren Moon dislocated a thumb in Houston. Looks like he's through for the season. You hurt your shoulder, injured the same way. There's no surgery required.
No, I had a third-degree tear. The Cowboys, if they make the playoffs, would have to play in 2 weeks. It took me 4 weeks to play, so it looks like they'd have to go a long way to get Aikman back. Doesn't need to be operated on, and he'll be fine. He'll get along just fine without that shoulder kind of sitting out of.
All right, Terry, we'll have scores and highlights of games played earlier today after this message from your local station.
The dream is to go to college on a basketball scholarship and then make it to the pros. The reality for most is a trip right back to where they started from. 60 Minutes tonight.
Their relationship defines romance, glamour, poise. Theirs is a storybook romance based on tenderness.
Cut.
Farrah Fawcett, Ryan O'Neal are trying to be good sports. Coming this January.
Cut.
This is CBS.
In order to better serve our viewers in some of the outlying areas of Idaho, Oregon, and Nevada, KBCI Channel 2 signal is rebroadcast on these translators.
With all the 4x4s out there, it's more important than ever to compare. Features like horsepower, who's got more? Technology, who's more advanced? Protection, whose is longest? Add up the big picture and only one vehicle offers the best of all these features. Jeep Cherokee. Once you've compared what's out there, the choice out here is clear.
See your Western Pacific Jeep and Eagle dealers where you can always expect the best.
You know, Jim, one of the most important aspects of coaching is knowing when to go to that bench.
I know what you mean, Paul. In fact, I thought the coach was going to put you in right there because he needed somebody to grab some rebounds.
You know, what we need right here is a little shooting, I think. Maybe there you go. You're it. Wait a minute.
I thought I was the guy. I can hit that outside jump shot.
Well, the coach is supposed to know when to go to the bench.
For the best play-by-play, Jim Brinson, Paul J. Schneider, AM 67 KBOI. There's no substitute.
Anything can happen on the edge.
Discover a place where passion runs wild. Guiding light on the edge.
Matt Biondi, Eyewitness News.
Greg Gumbel, Terry Bradshaw back in New York with scores and highlights of what happened earlier today. At the Vet in Philadelphia, Keith Byers got the Eagles rolling with the halfback option pass. He hit Calvin Williams. That's 4 TD passes and 4 attempts this season for Byers. And Babe Laufenberg came on for the injured Troy Aikman.
All-out blitz. Laufenberg elected to go back to the wide side of the field. A poor choice. There's Eric Allen making the easy interception, taking it in for the touchdown.
Now Dallas is still in the wild card hunt. Philadelphia will look to secure home field advantage next Saturday here on CBS. Meanwhile, in Chicago, Tampa Bay didn't heed the warning. Vinny Testaverde picked off by Mark Carrier for the Bears rookie, interception number 10 on the season, and that sets a new Chicago Bears record. Meanwhile, Mike Tomczak in for the injured Jim Harbaugh.
Little movement. Thornton, you see, just down out in the flat. Boy, that's about as easy as you can get. Linebacker too late, easy touchdown.
The Bears a winner, and so was Buffalo today behind Frank Reich.
Was not the wrong decision to play Wright. Beautiful job. 2 touchdown passes today for Wright.
235 yards throwing as well. Thurman Thomas did his part for the ground game, 154 yards, including a 13-yard touchdown. The fans As expected, attached the goalposts as the Bills secured home field advantage.
You see what we got? Look at it. It's getting ready to start snowing here. Ain't that lovely?
What's this feel like for you, Leonard?
We've been waiting on this game, and we just went out and played. Everybody had faith in everybody. We lost Jim, but hey, we brought it home, and we're going to be here throughout the playoffs. That's the main thing. The Buffalo people are going to see us play right here.
Well, they were almost as excited in Cincinnati, where the Bengals turned it on behind James Brooks, a 56-yard touchdown scamper here. The Bengals keep their hopes alive for the divisional championship in the AFC with a 20-point win over Houston. At Pittsburgh, Jim Schaffner, watching his Browns just commit suicide. They fumbled on their first 3 possessions, fumbled 8 times in all today. Mike Pagel losing it there, and Bubby Brister had a day.
Oh, this is a beautiful job. Brister getting pressure to the left, reverses his field, comes around, finds Malarkey in the corner of the end zone. 4 TDs for Brister today.
Pittsburgh can win the AFC Central next week. The Rams in Atlanta, Jim Everett intercepted by Scott Case, who returns 36 yards for his first career touchdown here as the Atlanta Falcons snap a 7-game losing streak today with a 20-13 win over the Los Angeles Rams. And the New York Jets, a winner over New England. Their victory included this touchdown dash by Troy Taylor, the first rushing TD by a Jets quarterback since Richard Todd did it in 1980. And the NFL today will continue in just a moment.
Greet the season and your friends with the best. Andre Champagne for the holidays and all year long.
If you have an insurance repair on your home and you have Allstate, it's in our hands. We know some very reliable contractors. It's our business too. So if you choose a contractor we recommend, we guarantee the workmanship of their repairs for 1 year. That's why you're in good hands with Allstate. A member of the Sears Financial Network.
My grandfather loves the unknown. I want a sure thing. I drive a new kind of Oldsmobile, the all-new Bravada, perfect for this jungle because it's got Smart Trap, a new anti-lock braking and all-wheel drive system that automatically sends power to the wheel that needs it. So I'm ready for the unexpected, whether I'm traveling across the river and into the trees,
This is the new generation,
or just visiting your old man in the sea.
Bravada, engineered for the unexpected. Sigourney Weaver is on the verge of becoming an endangered species.
These people are dead, Burke!
Aliens, Thursday. The undying bonds of friendship.
It ain't dying I'm talking about. It's living.
The enduring power of love.
I knew I'd never be able to keep them at home.
Sacrificed for the American dream.
They say you're a man of vision.
Hell of a vision. America returns to Lonesome Dove, January 20th on CBS.